I literally just did a video, and by the end of it, I was depressed. So I just erased it. Talking about the races tonight, obviously, most of the talk will be about the horrid performance of Patrick the Piranha. What happened? Where are we going from here? What took place? There's a number of questions to be answered. I can answer one of them. He didn't scope that horribly. Will take his blood. He's not lame, so the horse is sound, so that's good. There's no blood in his throat, so that's good. Tiny bit of mucus, but not even worth mentioning, really. Did I just simply drive the horse too hard early and drive him bad? It's possible. That's an easy fix. I would love that to be the reason he raced poor, but I don't think it was. You're probably going to see something in his blood, one thing or another. We will get him looked at, get his blood drawn, have it back Monday for everybody. Sneak him up to the vet and get Dr. McKee to go over him on Monday. Also, make sure everything's all right, give him a week off, and then likely school him to make sure we get his confidence back good and make sure he's moving forward. So I don't want to talk too much about Patrick. I know it was a bad race. I know it was a horrible outing. And anytime a flagship horse, a horse that we just shelled out, I shelled out a ton of money for, races, anything like that, it really hurts. I get it. I've been there. I'm there with you right now. And we'll be there again at some point. Like most things in life, it's not really all the time. How do they say it? It's not how hard you get knocked down, it's how quick you get back up. So, there's no real reason that Patrick the Piranha, that I can see, raced poorly tonight, but we'll get a look at his blood, and I'm sure the answer will be in there. I do want to talk about the trotter, the newest trotter. We had Sailor. I think everybody can see what happened there. James and I talked after it. Anytime you drive a horse, and it's easy to talk about how you drove a horse after the race. When I can tell you what went through my head with Patrick the Piranha, I didn't want to be in front of James for very long because I was going to end up being first over and drag him up into the race. I didn't want to be behind James because he would quarter pole. Then I'm left first over with Patrick the Piranha. I was in a tough spot. I already knew that long before the horse raced. I just thought that the way I drove him tonight, if you'd have asked me when I moved him, it was exactly where I wanted to be. I wanted to be moving there. I wanted to put Dougie in a position he'd had to let me go. I thought Patrick the Piranha would, swell up like a race car. If James came to me quick enough, I'd cut him loose. And if he didn't come to me quick enough, I'd give it to him. I didn't get to play it. Played out a different way. But you look at all that after the race, and, I have to ask myself, did I drive that horse bad? And when you look at James's drive on Sailor, I know he was trying to be conservative with him and ended up putting him in a real bad spot. A spot where that horse was uncomfortable. For a horse that won his last start in 53 on the front end, does some of his best work on the front, and then to be sitting last at the half, his own half, in about a minute and a piece, it's just not where you want to be. And that's certainly not a dig on James's driving, but in this particular race, if you had stopped the race right there and said, okay, what do you see going on right now? He wouldn't be very happy with what took place. You get that dawdling middle half woodbine flow. Best case, if the horse isn't a runaway, you just say, I was just driving him conservative. I cut him loose coming out of the turn. He trotted hard down the lane. He'll be good next week. But every horse is different, right? And this isn't a horse where you can just sit last and say, we'll get them next time, or he does show some trot and he'll be all right next week, because this horse is getting a little angry. Now he's sitting last, a place he doesn't want to be. He's getting a little anxious. He's getting a little angry. Now you get somebody pull out in front of James who really isn't going anywhere. A guy pulls out in front of him who really isn't going anywhere. Now you are in a stopped position with a horse that is getting a little angry, a little rank. There's nothing. I actually thought James pulled him 3 wide at one point. I thought he did. And then instead, he looks like he stepped on a wheel. I didn't ask him if he did, but it looked like he might have. And even if he didn't, it was circumstances. I know why he was driving him like that. I knew he was going to drive him like that going in. I'm sure you did. But none of us knew what this horse would do when you tried to drive him like that. So I think next week you're probably going to see him float out, drop in the 2, 3, 4 hole, remove to the front. And I think it's going to take a pretty good horse to run this guy down. I really, really like Sailor a lot. I love his gait. I love his attitude. I just like everything about the horse. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Sailor, not just next week, but in the future. Like him a lot. Next up was Simba. I'll give you a quick tutorial. I told you guys kind of last week about Simba. Simba doesn't do his best work in flip-flop shoes. He stays the soundest on his feet in flip-flop shoes, but he does not do his best work in flip-flops. He'll do his best work with a set of full swedges on, maybe even trot and swedges, or just, for those of you out there that are, say that a lot, but horsemen, a set of full swedge shoes on him. The problem with the full swedges, or any shoe that isn't a flip-flop, is that what'll happen after about 5 or 6 starts, he'll end up popping a quarter crack right front, and it bothers him for a little while. This is his thing. I've known him for a long time, and this is what he'll do. He'll race great for 5, 6, 7 starts. He'll get on the right line a little bit more, and within the next 2 starts, you'll see a pretty good quarter crack develop right front. We've tried to be a little proactive a couple of times. Qualified him with the flip-flops. He qualified well, raced well on a firm track last week with the flip-flops on. Now, having him come back in 6 days also, you know, he did scope a little bit of mucus, a little bit of redness in his throat, but not his cup of tea. Coming back in 6 days, especially when we don't know how tight he really is, come back in 6 days and ask him to do it. Then the track's a little deep tonight. Flip-flops on. There's a number of reasons. I could go on and on and on. I can tell you, here's the remedy. Take the flip-flops off, put the full swedges on them. Understand that there is a quarter crack. There is a countdown now taking place. So what we could do is race him 2 or 3 starts with the full swedges on, throw a set of flip-flops on him for a couple of starts. That's a possibility. I spoke about that last week, and that's what we very well may do with Stonebridge Simba. The throat thing's pretty easy to clear up. That's an afterthought. We can fix that quite easily. So we had Sailor, who made a break, but it was pretty clear why he made the break. We can rectify that quite simply. I don't think there are any changes needed with Sailor other than the way that we drive him. And James knows that without saying it. I think it'll be a huge change. And as I said in my note to my partners on Sailor, I think what you'll see is the polar opposite drive and the polar opposite finish on Sailor next week. Bolt Power, I can tell you exactly what happened. I lost my cover when he made a break. Bolt Power's got about an 1/8 of a mile sprint in him, maybe a little bit longer, but not over a quarter. Not over a quarter of a mile. I thought I would get the jump on them and I could coast through the wire. I got the jump on them and they run me down. So again, did I just ask for too much? Did I empty him out? I don't know. But I thought he raced okay. He's a decent horse. He's a small horse. Pretty windy night, and I asked him to do just a hint more than he was able to do, and we ended up third. I thought he raced okay. Stonebridge Simba, as I said, an easy enough fix. Patrick DePirano, we talked about him in depth, whether it was a bad drive, or whether it was the blood, or whether he needs a little work, or maybe a combination of a lot of things. We'll get to the bottom of it and get him fixed up. He's, as I said, a living, breathing animal, and you're going to have these nights sometimes. And then I guess the highlight of the night, I would say, is the old man. The old man in the last race raced absolutely fantastic. Brave World. James left, sat in, drove the horse great. The horse responded well. There's a big mile out there tonight. 53 and a piece. He paced 54. 53 and 4, 54. I thought the horse raced fantastic. Very, very happy for the Brave World group. So good job by Harry, Nellie, Danielle, and even Anna for the job they have done and they continue to do on Brave World. So that is that. That's tonight. I'm going to post this video. I don't want to dwell on what took place tonight. There were some high points, as I said. I think we have a real big race coming up for Sailor. I think that Brave World raced fantastic. I think Bolt Power raced pretty good. And as I said, Patrick DePirano, we'll get to the bottom of him. I know it stings. We'll get over it. And obviously, Stonebridge Simba. I've seen this movie 100 times before. Stonebridge Simba will be much better in his next start. So with that, I will let you guys go for the night. I'm going to have a little sleep. Try to get over tonight. Try to get over that race with Patrick. Wake up tomorrow, get your videos done, and focus on what is ahead. I do my best all the time to remember when the race is over. So tomorrow we have no free lunch at Miami Valley. We have Levator in Northfield Park. Now there's no racing, very rare, but there's no racing next Monday and next Thursday. So my next racing will be at Miami Valley on Wednesday afternoon. Some qualifying Thursday morning in Ohio, and then back here for some racing We'll make some first starts next week. Unbeatable Kemp will be entered in to go. Isa 10 will be entered in to go. Want to re-qualify Blue Bayou deal. We'll talk about all this tomorrow in your weekly videos. But for now, I'll bid you adieu. It's 11 o'clock at night. I am tired, and I am going to bed. Take care.